What on earth happened to this Championship super team we were expecting to see from Wrexham? Because at the start of the transfer window, they had so many transfer rumours, and we really thought they were going to go big in the Championship in terms of their transfers. Now, they very well might do come the end of the window, but I have been absolutely shocked at how slow Wrexham have been in terms of getting signings in through the door for the Championship season. Because I'm not going to lie, we're going to go through in the video. They need a lot of work doing in their squad, in my personal opinion, if they want to have any chance of staying up. And I genuinely think the bookies in that have got it all wrong with Wrexham right now going into the new season. If you're a Championship fan, if you're a Wrexham fan, do hit subscribe on this channel. We do daily Championship content, so if you're a Championship fan, do hit subscribe on this page. It does take 1 second to hit that subscribe button. And do drop a like as well if you do go on to enjoy the video. So with Wrexham, it is worth talking about the season that they just had in League One, where of course they achieved promotion, got 92 points, and finished second in the table. Miles behind Birmingham City. And Birmingham City, if you're talking about a squad, have a squad that is far clear of Wrexham. And then, of course, the other team getting promoted was Charlton on 85 points, just 7 points behind Wrexham. Now, with Wrexham, they were very solid at the back last season. 34 goals conceded, a really, really good defence. But going forward, 67 goals, not a bad total, but a lot of teams in League One, you go as far down as to Barnsley or Peterborough in 18th, who literally outscored Wrexham. Like, they weren't exactly the most free-flowing team. They were very good defensively, and they got the job done in their games. Now, as I say, how will that translate into Championship football? You're talking about a completely different level of this League One scene. You look at a lot of teams in League One, they're not at the highest level at all. I think the top end of League One's a pretty decent quality, but the bottom end of League One, especially mid-table and bottom end, is just a terrible, terrible division in terms of football standard. And then you're looking at a big increase coming up to the Championship. Now, there's a lot of shit in the Championship. There's a lot of bad teams in the Championship, do not get me wrong. But they're a complete different level, the Championship to League One, these teams in there. And as I say, the Championship is going to be so competitive this season because you're looking at it as a newly promoted club for Wrexham. You got Birmingham, who just aren't going to be down at the bottom, let's be real. And Charlton are making moves in the transfer market as well. And I've been more impressed with Charlton's transfer business than I have with Wrexham's transfer business so far in the window. So as I say, they've not conceded many goals in League One, which is very decent. They haven't scored enough goals, and they definitely need more firepower, which they've addressed kind of, but they definitely need to address a lot more going in to next season. And just looking at Wrexham's team individually, now it's not a bad team in the slides, but as I say, it's just a step up to the Championship. You've now got a wing back of James McLean, who's 36 years old at this point, so he's getting on a bit, and he's making now another step up to the Championship. I'm not saying that he can't make the step up, but I do feel like they need to get reinforcements in their wing back position and even at the back as well. And then centre-mid, I think Rathbone's a very good player. I think he could definitely make the step up to the Championship. Matty James, of course, has played in the Championship. He's 33 years old. He is getting on a bit, but again, he's a player that did really, really well for Wrexham in League One. At the forward line, I think Sam Smith could potentially make that step up and be a decent enough Championship striker. I think he can step in and score a few goals. Jay Rodriguez, I just don't think's got it at all. Wrexham, he struggled overall for Wrexham since he signed in January. Didn't score enough, and as well as that, now he's making a step up to the Championship. I mean, in general, he's 35 years old. He does just look a little bit finished. And just general reinforcements to that squad overall, Wrexham are going to have to make improvements to that team. They've got a lot of players, a lot of older players in that squad, but they really do need more investments. And as I say, in the transfer market, I'm surprised they haven't moved faster in the transfer market. We saw so many links to different players. I saw Lewis O'Brien getting linked with a pretty expensive deal at £5 million. We've seen pretty much all the players who got released from Premier League clubs. Like the Danny Ings, you had Johnny Evans linked, you had Aaron Cresswell, who's now gone to Stoke. You had a lot of them released players, them older heads in the Premier League that people just automatically put Wrexham to them because Wrexham have obviously got that history of signing very experienced players that are dropping down the leagues. And we thought kind of they'd continue with that model in the Championship, which so far, they absolutely haven't done that at all. They've only made 2 transfers so far. One of them being Danny Ward, who I've spoken a little bit about on this channel. I think if he's coming in as the first choice keeper, which I don't think it will be, I do think it'll be a Okonkwo as the goalkeeper. But it's an interesting sign. I don't know what his wage is like. If he's on low wages, fair enough. But realistically, this guy was absolutely atrocious at Leicester. He was a big reason why they got relegated. And he's only been a first choice keeper for like 2 seasons in his entire career. The geezer's 32 years old at this point, and he's had 2 full seasons, and one of them being at Leicester City, where he was literally one of the main reasons in that Premier League season why they went on to get relegated. And then they had a season at Huddersfield where he did do very well, but that was literally, almost 10 years ago. So I don't know if he's coming in at first choice. I don't think he will be. So for me, it's kind of just like a nothing signing in terms of, he might play at some points during the season. He might play the odd game here or there. He might come into the team at some point. Who knows? But realistically, as a signing, not really too much to report on. The other one being Ryan Hardy. I actually do like that piece of business from Wrexham. In the last couple of seasons, Ryan Hardy has hit double figures both in the Championship. 10 in the Championship last season, 12 in all comps, and then 12 in the Championship the season before. And under Miran Muslic, Ryan Hardy was actually a very, very decent Championship striker. So I like that sign. I thought it was a good start to the transfer window. But they haven't really pushed on since then. And as I say, I think they need multiple signings going into that new season. Because if we just look at the Championship and look at the amount of teams that are in there that, could get relegated, they're all decent enough Championship teams. Like, maybe Sheffield Wednesday with the situation that they're in. I don't know what's going to happen with the ownership. They might end up with some kind of maybe points deduction or just an absolute mess in terms of transfers, which it is right now, and overall players in the squad. So you can maybe write off Sheffield Wednesday. Hull City have an embargo, but they've still got a competitive squad in terms of surviving relegation, in my opinion. I think they'll still be I don't think they'll be absolutely cut adrift, in my opinion. I still think Hull City have enough quality in that squad to not be a terrible Championship team, even if they don't sign any players with this embargo, which we don't know. As I say, they are appealing it, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. Then the rest of the division, you look at, Charlton have got promoted. Charlton have invested quite heavily in the transfer market so far. They've brought in a lot of players. They've just brought in Rankin Costello from Blackburn as well. Championship experience. You can kind of tell what Charlton have done with their transfer business. They've brought in Championship experience. Reece Burke, if he stays injury-free, is a good signing. Kaminsky as well, obviously got relegated with Luton. Same goes for Amari Bell, who's not on here as well. Multiple players that got relegated with Luton, it isn't ideal, but if you can get the best out of these players in a new kind of environment under Nathan Jones, you think Charlton, with the way that they're moving in the transfer market, I think genuinely have a chance of staying up this season, especially with the positive momentum they've got around them. And then I'm looking at it, right, and then we go to the odds, where the bookies have got Wrexham as to get promoted. What's that? The 9th favourites. They got them finishing 9th at the end of the season, basically, in terms of their odds to get promoted. Which, obviously, they've got the back-to-back-to-back. That's right, I think. They've got the back-to-back-to-back. They've got that. And then, obviously, people thinking, can they do it again and do this unbelievable fairy tale rise, or people call it fairy tale rise, to the Premier League. But the way they move the transfer market, for me, doesn't suggest that they're going for this another promotion. They're trying to consolidate in the Championship. But for me, they've not even done enough business. For me, right now, if I'm making a Championship prediction, I'm putting Wrexham very, very close to getting relegated, if not in the relegation zone. And the bookies have got them in 9th. They're obviously assuming that Wrexham are going to be splashing the cash at some point. But as I say, the Championship season only starts in, under a month now? They've got a lot of business to get done, in my opinion. And I thought they really would be splashing the cash and throwing the money about, which we just haven't seen so far. And now they're currently sat in 9th in terms of the odds and the predictions for the bookies, which I think is just absolutely crazy to me. And it appears they've been messing about a bit too much on their pre-season tour. It feels like they got more attention on the Wrexham Down Under tour over in Australia, New Zealand, than they actually have on transfers and, giving the Championship a really good go. They played Melbourne Victory in the last game, which was a convincing win. Melbourne Victory were absolutely terrible. They beat them 3-0, a comfortable win. They need to be playing higher level of opposition, especially in these pre-season games that are going to kind of get them up to speed with the Championship. Because you look at the opening game of the season, you have to say it's a bit of a baptism of fire. I know Southampton got 12 points in the Prem last season, but at the end of the day, they're a relegated team coming down from the Premier League with so much quality in their squad. When you look at the forward options they've just brought in another striker or forward player in Damien Downs as well. And, they've got Adam Armstrong, they've got Cameron Archer, they've got Ross Stewart, who's, can hopefully stay injury-free. They've still got Tyler Diblin and Fernandez on the books as well. They've got serious attacking talent going forward, and you think, can this Wrexham side in the Championship, which was a solid defence in League One, can they make that step up and be solid in the Championship again? And also another thing that I've not spoken about in Wrexham, where I think they need more investment than even a Charlton, is due to the fact that their manager is Phil Parkinson. This geezer has got the worst Championship record in the Championship out of any manager as far as win percentage goes. And if he's coming into it with, say, Wrexham don't make many more signings until the season starts, I think they're coming in with a weak team. And at Championship level, I know Phil Parkinson's done a fantastic job, obviously, getting Wrexham these promotions and doing really well there. And he's got an unbelievable record at Wrexham. But you're looking at a completely different level, and this is a big step up for Phil Parkinson as a manager, let alone all these players in the squad. Where the players that have got Championship experience are very, they're aging players that you think maybe are over the hill at some point, or, might not be able to make this step up. And then, of course, as I say, you've got a manager there that has got an atrocious record at Championship level. Granted, You know, he's not managed exactly the best Championship teams. He's not had the best resources in terms of the club that he's been managing. But he hasn't proved himself at Championship level at all. And you've got an unproven manager who, you never know, is League One kind of his ceiling in terms of management. It all remains to be seen in this Championship season. So let me know, if you're a Wrexham fan, let me know what your thoughts are going into the new season. In my opinion, I think they need a lot more signings. I think at least 3 or 4 more signings, in my opinion. They'll probably end up getting it done, but I've just been very, very surprised at how I thought Wrexham were going to be building this super team. Obviously, the bookies believe that as well, and they've been very, very steady in terms of their transfer business so far, and it feels like they've been more focused on the kind of Wrexham down under tour and the kind of commercial side of things over actually getting business done, in my personal opinion. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you're a Wrexham fan, if you're a Championship fan, hit that subscribe button. If you watch this point, you may as well hit that subscribe button. As I drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.